Hey everybody, Ed here with the Digital Digest, and today I wanted to give you guys yet another update on my experience with the Google Nexus 10. So of course I've given you guys some initial impressions, an update, and really I'm just back to tell you guys that this device just keeps getting better and better. So not too long ago I received the update to Jelly Bean version 4.2.1 and wanted to really just tell you guys specifically what it addressed and what I've noticed since that update. So a quick video. First and foremost, it was to fix a bug in the calendar, which it resolved. So that's been taken care of. But the thing that I noticed, and I'm not going to keep making you guys dizzy here, jumping back and forth between the pages, is that it has dramatically improved the battery life. And I'm going to attribute that to the fact that part of the bug fix list included Wi-Fi and Bluetooth. Now, as I mentioned in my initial coverage of this tablet, the Wi-Fi chipset in here is just beast. It performs phenomenally well. It makes every other tablet look like it's in another little league arena of Wi-Fi capability. I'm seeing stronger signals out of my dual band router from this tablet than some computers, and we're not talking about old systems. These are systems from last year. So something has been done to that Wi-Fi performance. That has to be what I'm going to pin the battery life improvement to, and let's talk about what that actual improvement is. So right now I've got the tablet at full brightness. This was something I really wouldn't be doing before because, as you guys know, this is a 1600p screen. It's very high res. It sucks the juice out of this battery despite having a very large battery on board here, because Samsung has built what, in my opinion, right here is a piece of art when it comes to tablet manufacturing. Of course, paired with the Nexus experience from Google and Project Butter, it really just combines for a phenomenal overall tablet experience. But before we were looking at somewhere around, as I mentioned, 7, maybe 8, if you were lucky 9 hours. Now you're looking at well over 10 hours and standby time also. I'm not sure what exactly happened here. It didn't have a battery drain per se that was killing it quickly. But the way it has started sipping juice is in an entirely different league. So I wanted to tell you guys already, this is part of the reason that having a Nexus device is so beneficial to the user. And it's not only a matter of extending the life of the device, it's also improving your experience every single day that you own it. And considering this tablet has only been out since the second week of November, so we're looking at a very short window. The fact that Google has already taken some great steps to address one of the most important fundamental things, which is battery life, is already a very good sign, because one of the initial criticisms of the Nexus 10 was that its battery life was good but just average, and now it's apparently above average. And I can imagine that with time it probably will only get better as they refine the OS and just the overall management that's going on here with that dual-core processor and everything else that surrounds it. They also address some Bluetooth issues, but I haven't run into any problems, so I can't tell you guys what those are. With all that said, I've given you a rundown of what 4.2.1 really did. Let me also update you guys on how I'm liking the overall interface. So I talked about notifications and how they've become, docked at the left and right side. Some people do not like it, others don't mind it. I told you guys already that in terms of actually using the tablet, it actually is intuitive to grab your notifications as well as your settings right there from the top of the screen, especially since when you need to jump back in at least the stock Chrome browser that does come installed on this tablet out of the box, since Flash is no longer part of the experience and Chrome is the official Android experience for browsing the internet, as we all know, then basically what you're looking at, very smooth performance, but the back buttons are always up there at the top. So all the people complaining about the button shift here, I understand it, mentioned it in my previous update, but I think this is really more about accommodating the portrait view, because when you have this out of landscape, as much as people will criticize portrait view and say, well, the aspect ratio doesn't lend to portrait, you may agree or disagree. The fact remains, I have to believe that that's when these buttons, the back, home, and multitasking, the menu button there to bring up all of your different applications, that's where that really becomes an advantage, because they are now centrally located to your thumbs. Because when your thumbs are down here sharing the bezel in portrait mode, that's when these are all easily accessible. But obviously when you're in landscape like I am right now, the only thing that's really accessible are your notification and settings. So that's something I wanted to talk about. Obviously, I've already told you guys, speakers have been great. Build quality has held up quite nicely. More and more really liking the rubber backing on this, and that does obviously just transcend the feel we got from the Nexus 7, except this is certainly of a higher quality in every single sense. The limited storage thing, this is something I'm getting used to, not accustomed to being, confined to a limitation there. But so far, I can tell you guys that I haven't run into any problems with the actual 32 gigs on board, and I shouldn't, quite frankly, because that is a copious amount in my opinion. But for those of you power users out there who want to have more storage, I will shortly be reviewing a drive that's been on the market for a while now. It's the Seagate GoFlex satellite, the 500 gig wireless drive, which is perfect for something like this. Granted, it originally was really launched with iPads in mind, since most Android tablets out there do not suffer from storage expansion issues. We all know that, or for those of you who don't, now you do. The Nexus lineup is really the only entry into the Android tablet sector that is devoid of storage expansion. So devices like that, as well as Kingston's Wii Drive, are solutions, even though they were chiefly originally aimed at iOS devices, which obviously don't have storage expansion. That's where they might come in handy for those of you who've picked up the Nexus 32 even, also because a device like that actually supports NTFS, which is going to give you the ability to watch HD movies on this display, something you cannot do with the actual, I'm not sure why I'm not getting pinch to zoom to work here, but something you're not able to do obviously with any Android tablet other than the Infinity, simply because the Infinity and ASUS's lineup in general is the only one that supports NTFS. Everything else is FAT32, extension FAT32. So keep that in mind. That is one advantage to picking up one of those GoFlex. I know it was off topic, but relevant because the Nexus is clearly a storage limited option. Nonetheless, right now, really enjoying this tablet, certainly the best on the market. If you're asking yourself, is it worth it, the $400 or the $500 price point, my answer is absolutely yes. You can see the rubber does become quite a fingerprint magnet, but between processor power, battery life, software experience, the incredible resolution of this PLS display, which smokes everything else out there, except for maybe the Duo 11 that I'm in the process of reviewing. Even though that's only a 1080p IPS display, it still is one of the best displays I've ever seen on any computing device other than the Nexus 10, which right now still does reign supreme in my opinion. People out there have been saying it's not the best display. I'm not sure what they're looking at. Again, flash not an issue, easily installable, side-loaded, run Dolphin. Frankly, in my opinion, you're going to get a better browsing experience out of Dolphin than Chrome. Chrome does run really well, but I just still kind of miss Flash. That's just me, folks. Of course, that's not going to apply to all of you. This backing does come off of the tablet. I'm going to show you guys that right now, and that's because there are smart covers. They haven't hit the market yet, but they will in a matter of time. You can see right here there is a little nub, basically. If I can get my nail, I don't have much of a nail. Let's see if I can use my thumb. And basically all you do is pull that off. I'm trying. No, doesn't look like I have enough nails, so guess I need someone who doesn't cut their fingernails, folks, because I certainly do not have the nail to even get under there. But basically, you get your fingernail in there, generally. Those of you who don't trim your nails, oh, I've activated some voice recognition in the background. This should be an interesting search. And then this piece completely comes off and will accommodate a flip cover. And yeah, nothing creative, really nothing out of the ballpark, in my opinion there, especially since these things don't exist yet. I'm not sure why they haven't hit the market. I can't give Google as much credit as I give them and Samsung on the actual development of this product, the fact that we don't have any accessories, and it's an expensive tablet that's been out, a very broad launch. I'm not sure what to tell you guys. That's the one area where I'm really disappointed. Not really, but I can't see why we wouldn't have some accessories for this. But the Nexus lineup, the history, unfortunately, does kind of have that reputation of being a little bit late on accessories, to say the least. So overall, really enjoying this. If you guys are thinking about buying an Android tablet right now, there's no question this is the cream of the crop. Now, with that said, the Transformer Pad Infinity, still one of the best in the business, and I can still highly recommend that as long as you watch my full review and understand what you're getting yourself into there. Similarly, idea is the same here. You know, as long as you understand exactly what you're getting out of the Nexus experience, what it represents, the customization, the fact that, you know, if you root it, you're not going to void your warranty, the fact that you're getting direct updates. It's all a give and take with all these different tablets, especially when you're comparing something like this to something like the Asus Transformer, which is a completely different niche in my opinion. Even though they do directly compete, in my mind, in many ways, they do not. So for those of you looking for a complete tablet-only experience, no dock, best battery life, best screen, best processor, you know, the right amount of RAM, at least in my opinion, to do some future-proofing right now. You've got NFC, good cameras on both the front and the back. Right now, the Nexus 10 simply cannot be beat. If you guys have any questions or comments, please feel free to post them. And of course, as usual, please feel free to subscribe. Later.